Hello friends, I'm Father Frank Pavone, National Director of Priests for Life. Welcome to another episode of Pro-Life Straight Talk, where we expose the truth about abortion with courage and clarity, no matter what the consequences. Well, in mid-November of 2015, I once again attended as a guest the semi-annual meeting of the United States Catholic Bishops. It was held in Baltimore, and one of the items on their agenda is an agenda item that appears every 4 years during the meeting just before the start of a presidential election year. And that is the issuing of a document that is meant to guide Catholics in their political responsibility. It's called Forming Consciences for Faithful Citizenship. Now, these annual documents are not the only thing that the Church says about our obligation to vote and how we vote and what issues are most important, but it is one of the teaching tools that the bishops provide. And I read through and studied this document and want to point out to you that once again, this document says something that conforms completely to common sense and that has always been asserted by the Church, and that is that in our day, because nothing else takes as much life as abortion does, abortion has become a preeminent issue for our concerns, and therefore also for the concerns of voters. Now, the document makes it very clear that Catholics have to be concerned about a multitude of issues, and we know that. And I find that most people do know that as well. What they don't understand is how horrible abortion is and how primary an issue that needs to be in our consideration. Because no matter what else changes, there are several things that have not changed. First of all, the arithmetic has not changed. Nothing claims more human life than abortion does. Over 1 million abortions every year here in the United States take place legally throughout all 9 months of pregnancy. The second thing that hasn't changed is the logic. If we don't have life, we don't have anything else. So this is the foundation, the fundamental right, the condition for all the other goods that we possess. You have to be alive to have health care. You have to be alive to have education. You have to be alive to have the right to work. You have to be alive to have a home, a job. Brothers and sisters, life is the foundation and condition of everything else. The logic hasn't changed. And thirdly, the teaching hasn't changed. This document, as a matter of fact, as do all the faithful citizenship documents, make it clear that they do not exist in a vacuum. These documents in turn quote and build on other church documents, and in fact in this document there is a list at the end of statements going back for decades that the Church has used to teach about life and social justice and political responsibility. So these documents are not in a vacuum. They are in a body of teaching that affirms that at the heart and core of every issue is life itself. So what are we saying? There are a multitude of issues, and yet the document says no one issue can be the reason that qualifies a candidate for public office, although I will say in practice, people are motivated by single issues all the time. But the document is saying that morally speaking, because a candidate is right on one or another issue, that doesn't necessarily make him or her the best candidate. But the document does say that if a candidate is wrong on an issue of fundamental moral importance, such as the right to life, that becomes a disqualifying issue. This is important to understand. The document does not put all the issues on the same footing, even though it says there are a multitude of issues and goes into the naming of those issues and an explanation of the Church's positions. Nevertheless, it doesn't put them all on the same footing. It identifies evils like abortion as things that must always be opposed and about which there can be no debate. On the other hand, while immigration is a very important issue, people can differ and will differ on how best to craft immigration policy. There isn't a Catholic immigration policy. There's a Catholic moral teaching that immigrants are human beings. They are our brothers and sisters. They deserve to be treated as such. They should be welcomed, protected. Their families should not be divided. But how does that translate exactly into a public policy? That's not self-evident. That has to be battled out by legislators, and people who are equally committed to the principle couldn't differ on the policies. But when it comes to things like abortion that can never be permitted at all, the principle is the policy. You protect these children. There's no morally acceptable way not to protect them. And so the document goes on to say, and let me give you this specific quote from this bishop's document. As citizens, we should be guided more by our moral convictions than by our attachment to a political party or interest group. When necessary, our participation should help transform the party to which we belong. We should not let the party transform us in such a way that we neglect or deny fundamental moral truths or approve intrinsically evil acts. This says something important about the Democratic Party. It has a position favoring intrinsically immoral acts of killing babies. We cannot accept that kind of a position. And in fact, the document goes on to say that if we agree with that position and we vote for a candidate because we agree with that position, that vote is an immoral action. We cannot be transformed by the party. Many people don't even know what their party stands for. It's important to read not only the positions of the candidates, but the position of the party. But we cannot tolerate the acceptance of an intrinsically moral evil like abortion. And then, of course, the document urges us to faithfully practice our citizenship. And let me give you another quote that's very important to promote. Forming their consciences in accord with Catholic teaching, Catholic lay women and men can become actively involved, running for office, working within political parties, communicating their concerns and positions to elected officials, and joining advocacy networks, community organizations, and other efforts to apply authentic moral teaching in the public square. Be active, the Church is telling us. Be active, be politically engaged, get behind the candidate and party of your choice, the candidate and party that reflects your values, and work hard. Donate, put up lawn signs, leaflet, attend events, promote the information. Thank God we have a system where we can elect our leaders and they aren't imposed on us without our having anything to say about it. But we're going to have a lot more to say about this as the elections of 2016 continue to draw closer. November 8th, 2016, mark that day on your calendar and go to politicalresponsibility.com between now and then to find out not only the things that the Church is saying about voting, but the things that Priests for Life is saying and doing to help you become an active and effective voter. God bless you. We'll be back next time.